This is a follow-up to a previous story that I did about working out Valvoline and the time I blew up a tire. Okay, so if you haven't seen that, go back to the previous video. But this time, I want to talk about the time that I actually accidentally took out the transmission fluid instead of the oil. So working at Valvoline, again, I was working topside. It's where you work at the top of the vehicle and do everything, like fill up the tires, take out the cabin air filter, the air filter, battery check, everything all along those lines, okay? So we have something called an evac machine, which is basically where you can take the oil from the top of the vehicle instead of having to pull the drain plug out and take the oil out, the traditional way. So I was told to use the evac machine on a Honda Civic. Now some people are gonna realize a Honda Civic is the easiest thing to do an oil change on, and it's the easiest. How the hell did you do that? Listen, when you see a yellow dipstick, you assume that is the oil dipstick. Yeah, I didn't know it was the orange one for some reason. And the AVAC machine is simple. You use a tube and you stick it down the dipstick where the dipstick is, and it reaches all the way to the bottom where the oil tank is, and you can take the oil out that way instead of having to pull the drain plug. Yeah, well, I put it down the transmission tube and I evac'd the whole the entire transmission fluid. And by the time someone came back to see, it was the same manager came back to see Zach. The same manager, Zach, came to see the car. He looked at the car. He looked at me. He looked at the car and said, "Come here." And I said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Do you see what you just did?" I said, "I think I evac'd the oil, right?" "No," he said. "The oil dipstick is not all the way down here. That's the transmission fluid that you just took out." I think I was just barely starting this job. I think like a month or two, and I had no knowledge about cars whatsoever. So needless to say, oh no, we had to put we had to put new transmission fluid in the vehicle and then do an oil and then do an oil change. So basically, they got transmission fluid flushed down. This is so funny to me. It's just, I can see myself. I can feel it like as if it was yesterday. And yeah, I wasn't a car guy before. I didn't really know much about cars. Now I do. Valvoline really helped me learn about cars, but I had to do quite a few mess ups to understand cars.